There is a heavy silence hanging over East Rutherford right now, and honestly, it feels like we are all holding our breath. We all want that spark, that game changer who finally returns us to the Super Bowl. But something is shifting behind the scenes that has me genuinely worried about our season opener. I need your help, though. This channel is built by a fan for the faithful, and reaching our 500 subscriber goal is what keeps this dream alive for me. Please subscribe and help our voice grow. We are in this together, Giants family, something happening. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room that has every Giants fan looking over their shoulder as we approach training camp. We all saw the highlights and we all felt that rush of adrenaline when Malik Nabers was drafted, because he represents a new era for this franchise. He is supposed to be the one who changes the gravity of our offense. But there is a growing cloud of uncertainty regarding his health that we simply cannot ignore anymore. Reports are starting to surface that suggest his recovery from that knee injury is much more complicated than we were initially led to believe. When you hear experts say their concern level is at an 11 on a scale of 10, it sends a shiver down your spine. This is not just a standard recovery process. Nabers himself has been incredibly candid about the fact that surgery fixed the structural issue. But the process of regaining confidence in that knee is a completely different animal. It is about that psychological hurdle of playing at full speed again. And honestly, it feels like the front office is starting to prepare us for some tough news. Have you noticed the way Joe Schoen hedges his answers lately? Every time he is asked if Malik will be ready for the start of camp, there is a subtle hesitation. It is that classic "we hope so" language that usually precedes a stay on the physically unable to perform list. We have seen this movie before in New York, and it usually starts with this kind of calculated optimism that slowly turns into a delayed debut. If Nabers starts the summer on the PUP list, it changes everything for the chemistry of this offense. We need him out there taking reps with the ones from day one to build that connection. But if he is sidelined, we are looking at a situation where our most explosive weapon might not even be available for the first few weeks of the regular season. This is the kind of tension that keeps you up at night because we know how high the stakes are this year. We cannot afford another slow start like we had last season with other key players. The identity of this team is at a crossroads, and we are all just hoping for clarity as the days tick away toward August. Now, this is where it gets interesting because while everyone is focused on the wide receiver room, there is a quiet battle brewing on the offensive line that could decide the fate of our season. We have been hearing a lot about Marcus Mbo lately, and whether he can actually crack the starting lineup this year. It is a fascinating situation because it puts a lot of pressure on guys like Evan Neal. If Mbo gets looks at guard or even center, it shows that the coaching staff is not satisfied with the status quo. They are looking for stability, and they are looking for it fast. This creates a ripple effect throughout the entire locker room, because nobody is safe when the pads come on. But here is the thing. Even if Mbo shows flashes of brilliance, the chances of a young player jumping into a starting role on this line are always slim unless there is a total collapse. It makes you wonder about the long-term plan for the protection of our quarterback. We saw how much the unit struggled last year, and the thought of entering another season without a solidified front five is terrifying. The coaches are playing it close to the vest, but you can feel the urgency in the way they are shuffling these guys around during the early sessions. It is all about finding that right combination before it is too late. We are looking at a roster that has some serious talent, but the depth is where the real questions remain. If we lose one or two starters to injury again, we could be in a world of trouble. This is why the development of players like Mbo is so critical, even if they do not start right away. It is about building a foundation that can withstand the grind of a 17-game schedule. But the emotional weight of these decisions is what really gets to you as a fan. We have seen too many seasons derailed by poor line play, and we are all just praying that this year is different. The pressure on the coaching staff to get this right is immense because the fans are running out of patience with the same old excuses. We need answers, and we need them before the first kickoff. But this is where things change, and we have to look at the historical context of how this team handles major injuries. Think back to last year with Andrew Thomas and how his situation was managed. There was so much optimism early on, but then reality set in and he missed significant time. Now we are seeing the exact same patterns with Malik Nabers, and it is honestly frightening. The biggest question right now is whether the front office is being completely transparent with us about the timeline. When Joe Schoen talks about the recovery, he always leaves himself an out. That is the red flag that should have us all on high alert. If they are already thinking about the PUP list for our number 1 draft pick, it means the injury was likely more severe than a simple cleanup. This could become something much bigger if he misses the entire training camp. You cannot just plug a rookie receiver into the lineup in week 1 and expect him to have chemistry with the quarterback if he has not been practicing. The timing of the recovery is everything. We are talking about a player who depends on his explosiveness and his ability to cut on a dime. If there is even a hint of hesitation in his movement, the entire offensive scheme falls apart. This creates an atmosphere of suspense that is hard to shake off. We are all waiting for that one clip of him running at full speed, but it has not come yet. Instead, we get reports of restricted media access and limited viewing windows, which only fuels the speculation. It feels like the organization is trying to hide the extent of the struggle to avoid a PR nightmare early in the summer. But as fans, we can sense when things are not right. We know the difference between a player being eased back in and a player who is truly struggling to get back on the field. This uncertainty is a heavy burden to carry into the season because so much of our hope is pinned on his success. We need him out there, and we need him healthy, or the entire vision for this offense is in jeopardy. The stakes have never been higher for this franchise. I'm going to be honest with you guys, because this actually worries me more than I want to admit. I really like the move to bring in a talent like Nabers, but I think fans should pay close attention to how the coaching staff is closing ranks right now. The change in media access for the rookie minicamp is a perfect example of the new atmosphere under Brian Daboll. In the past, we used to get a much clearer picture of how these young guys were progressing, but now it feels like a black box. This move towards secrecy usually happens when a team is trying to manage expectations or hide a potential problem. I want to be optimistic and believe that they are just focused on instruction over highlights, but my gut tells me there is more to it. We are seeing a shift in the team identity where everything is handled behind closed doors. This might be good for the locker room, but it makes it incredibly difficult for the faithful to stay connected to the reality of the situation. I really hope I am wrong about the severity of the injury, but the lack of transparency is making it hard to stay positive. We have been through so much as a fan base, and we just want to know that the team is on the right track. It feels like we are on the verge of something great if the health holds up, but that is a huge if. The tension between the front office and the reality on the field is palpable. I am keeping a close eye on the OTA reports, but even those are going to be filtered through the team PR machine. We need to see Malik Nabers out there with a helmet on and no restrictions before we can truly breathe a sigh of relief. Until then, we are just living on hunches and whispered reports. This is the part of the offseason that tests your loyalty, because the silence from the team is deafening. We are all searching for reasons to believe, but right now the questions are outnumbering the answers. We just have to hope the plan is actually working behind those closed doors and that the star we drafted is ready. At the end of the day, we are all just waiting for that final word on whether our star will be on the field when the lights come on. The uncertainty around Malik Nabers is the kind of thing that defines a season before it even begins. We want to believe everything is fine, but the clues left by Joe Schoen and the coaching staff suggest a much more difficult path ahead. This is the reality of being a Giants fan right now. We live in that space between hope and heartbreak. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the Giants are being too cautious, or is there a real reason to panic about Nabers missing the start of the season? And what about the depth on the line with guys like Marcus and Bo? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because your perspective is what makes this community so strong. We are building something special here, and I really need your support to reach our goal of 500 subscribers. It means the world to me when you hit that like button and join the family. Stay tuned, because as soon as more news breaks about the PUP list or the final roster moves, I will be right here to break it down with you. We are heading into a storm, but we are doing it together as one big blue family. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!